from YouTube and let me figure out how to give full permission to share his screen. Actually, how do I do that?
Can you grant me a host?
Okay. Make host. Okay, you're a host now.
Right. Yeah, that's weird because I don't see the configuration either. Anyway, let me just start screen sharing. What? That's definitely not what I wanted to screen share. Once again. Okay. It seems like it believes that I have three three monitors, but then I only have two. And
maybe one of them is, I guess one of them is transparent.
Let's try this way. Can you see
the
notes now? Okay,
yeah, we can.
It's a bit weird, but anyway, I will look a little bit to the side because I have a monitor over there. So yeah, hello everybody. We're starting our weekly update on Node Interfaces Sync, and we'll start with what we have done last week, starting on near core side, and straight away I'd like to invite Bogdan to give us an update on query refactoring and other matters on near core as well.
Yeah, okay. Hello everyone. So as for the refactoring of query method, it's almost done, I guess. There are some small review suggestions and questions left, and a little bit effort to make a backward compatible messages for JSON RPC responses to keep everything with the previous state. It was kind of big one refactoring, so I'm really wishing to finish it. Also, we have merged a little small changes, small improvements of logging every time when JSON RPC returns timeout on a couple of methods to be able to debug it and fix the issues.
Oh wait, it's already merged? It didn't even exist just yesterday.
Yeah, I've done it yesterday evening and fixed all the suggestions today's morning. Yeah, so it is all there, but a small note that I've avoided adding logs for query method because I made all the logs against master, but I'm hoping to merge refactoring of query, and I don't want to deal with not necessary conflicts, so I haven't added logs there, just to note it. As for compilation errors and other stuff, it was done previously, but I recall that we haven't merged for indexer for Explorer all the changes on the GitHub, so we had it in the separate branch. I've updated the change log, bumped the version, and we've merged it. And I guess it's pretty much it. Not related to near core, but I'm hoping to finish some changes on the near. Yeah, it's related actually. Some changes on the near indexer framework side on the near core to introduce some sort of wrapper for init config function from neard, because in the tutorial the signature of this function looks pretty scary, and we don't want to scare anyone. So Troll suggested like to simplify things and like introduce some sort of wrapper just to make it not so scary. Yeah, and after that I'm hoping to finish my first tutorial on Indexer, and it will be published. It's already in pull request for the docs. Josh helped a lot with language, especially. So yeah, we're moving there with the small steps. I guess it's pretty much all from me. So if you have any questions, please ask me.
Yeah,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Are you planning to start with other methods after the query method, like straight away?
Yeah, thank you for the question. The next method is a little bit below. Currently, Fro focused on it. The next method on plan is broadcast TX. Like we're moving on the huge ones. And if I'm not mistaken, we had some discussion with Frol about like postpone the next refactoring and introduce the structured errors for the refactored ones to unblock you. But I'm not sure if we decided to do that. So it's like
right now,
discussable.
we will. Sorry. So right now we will have everything except the broadcast transaction, like next week or in 2 weeks.
No, it's not all. It's blocks, chunks, receipts, and query method.
Okay, it's
almost
enough,
done. Yep.
Probably. Okay.
Yeah, and we may be, and I guess this is a great idea. Frol is author of this idea to like pause the refactoring and like complete exposing structured errors for these methods, so you can start implementing it on the other side of the things. And after that, I will continue refactoring other methods. We can take it offline.
Yeah, I just want to bring some context here. When we are talking about this refactoring is happening in query and broadcast TX and all the previous ones, we have done the refactoring, the internal refactoring in the view client. They are still not exposed through JSON RPC. What it helps us to have is to iterate quickly. We keep the backwards compatible changes, and this will ensure that we don't break things. And the next iteration, which Bogdan is currently talking about, is that we will pause on view client refactoring, and instead finally work on the exposing these refactored methods that we have already refactored through the JSON RPC interface, and you will essentially observe the results finally. So right now you cannot really tell if it's there, but I promise you it's much better than it used to be, and it's on the way to be quite easily exposed once we are done.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we on our side we're moving to the final design. Finally, like next week, I will have a call with Para's team, like just to hear what people need, like what they are suffering of, and probably then we will come up with what we want, and maybe we should talk after like how we will present it on your core side.
So yes, do we have a pull request on your API.js side, or what's the current state?
No, it's separated right now, but probably it will be there soon.
So what would be the current status? Is it in the works, or it's like under discussion? Do you have any code implemented yet?
Yeah, I have code. I have spoken with several people and more to come. And after we will have this design finalized, I will create the pull request
Mhm.
to handle it. Yeah, we're still thinking about how not to break anything, because it's definitely will be a breaking change.
I see. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, and we need to communicate to all the partners.
Yeah. Paras is just one of them. Like, we will talk to other partners also.
Cool. Thank you for the update. So this is done from last week. This regarding the query view state hasn't been done yet, and I'd like to share what I just realized today and talked with Bowen. Is that initially I thought that let's start with from the beginning. We had a problem where querying through JSON RPC the state through view state request type would essentially time out every single time for the contracts which has quite a lot of key values stored in their state. What I didn't realize initially is that even if we reject the request from the client with the response of timeout, we keep running the computation internally. So it's essentially was useless timeout rejection because we still were under load, and the node was constantly doing the work that nobody is now waiting for even. So this is even present right now, and we will I will create a patch, but there is a discussion I believe Vlad Grichina is leading it, that such a it's not a solution, and with this way we will essentially just cast the method into completely unusable for most of the cases. I wouldn't say that most of the cases are affected though, but certainly quite a few contracts could be affected, and we need a better solution. But it turns out it seems like Bowen provide more context on this.
I mean, I don't think there is, well, I mean, there are several ideas. So there are some ideas which will not be a full solution. I mean, some ideas include that you try to paginate this request, right? But then it is actually not entirely clear how we want to implement this. What is the proper size of a page or something like this?
Mm-hmm.
And this is, especially when the state is large, this can also run for a very long time. It's it will not, the time it takes to run the request is the same, right? It's just that you break it down into multiple requests.
Yeah.
I mean, it will solve the problem of it not returning timeout, but it will not solve the problem of this being an expensive request.
Yep.
So that is kind of one idea. Another more I would say better or more thorough solution would be something like we kind of discussed with Proxima, which they are kind of providing a data layer for Ethereum Smart. Well, ideally they want to provide data layer for Ethereum dApps to query their state. So essentially they build this fast read layer that's building on top of the blockchain state, and they would just serve requests from there. Essentially, they can think of it as separate servers that they kind of optimize the storage for, such that it's fast for reads. But trying to build something like that is is like a large project on its own. So I don't think it will be realistic anytime soon. But I mean, I do think it seems to be a good like direction to think about, because currently most contracts state are still small, right? Which and we also don't have that many developers building applications on top of Near. But when there are a lot, then this would actually become more pressing need of like actually querying the state, understanding state, and they actually probably want fast queries. And then I think it does make sense to like not solve this on the like from the inside Near core itself, because it's not designed for this purpose, right? It does seem to me that it's reasonable to like kind of try to build a separate service that would kind of serve this type of requests. Although, yeah, I mean, the thing is that it's not easy to do. So, yeah. What do you think?
Well, I totally agree with the reasoning that if we are not bumping into the issue from inside the Near protocol and only feel pain from the JSON RPC side of things, we should definitely argue that it's not part. It shouldn't be part of the Near core implementation. We can move it to Indexer or any other like suggested solution there. We may, though, consider addressing this issue from a little bit different angle, maybe, is to, if we can implement some caching on top of that, not inside the Near core, but as a way, as we discussed, to introducing REST APIs and then just implementing the like load balancer proxy, which would take care of the caching. That could be the way to go, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good point, I think. Also, one thing I want to mention is that this does. I mean, partially this is caused by the inefficiency in our state implementation. I mean, that might change in the future as well. So that also might also speed things up. But basically, this will not be the primary concern, or like rather, we will not do anything to specially optimize for this type of query.
Yeah.
So it's not clear whether that the rewrite of state will solve this problem, but also that will not happen anytime soon. So it's also not a short-term solution.
Totally agree. It seems like it's all from my side. At least I couldn't really come up with anything else. Would you like to discuss something more in this regard?
Yeah. So I believe Vlad Grichina is actually working on something on the Near API.js to handle the broadcast TX commit timeout, which I mean, I realized that it is actually. I mean, it depends on how the contract is written, but it's definitely possible for it to do some function call that would just like it would just naturally cause it to timeout because there is a timeout, and your function call can span like multiple blocks. So I mean, it's not. So I'm not entirely sure how we should deal with this from Near core side, because it seems like this is just designed this way. Unless we want to change how this broadcast TX commit works, which I mean, but like its intention is to like wait for it to finish. So
yeah. Well, in my opinion, it should be expected that it can time out.
Okay.
And from my perspective, from the API point of view, we should treat it as a long polling style of communication. So essentially, the only thing that this timeout serves is that it allows you not to make every single second a request. You make a request every 10 seconds, and you essentially get the results as soon as possible
Yes.
and
Yes.
you don't need to wait more.
Yes.
So
yes.
in that regard, it's currently fine. We probably need to proper communicate the fact that you can send broadcast TX commit again with the same transaction, and it will not create a duplicate. It will just essentially inform you as soon as the transaction appears on the network.
Yep.
So I would say it's just a implementation detail. So near API.js could do this behind the scenes. Also, documentation can resolve this issue. I don't think near core needs to address it.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that sounds good.
That's all from my side, unless I forgot something. So I guess we have 3 minutes break till the next sync.
Yep.
Berry pickers are on the way, I guess.
Yeah.
See you guys. Bye.
Yeah. But
Let me stop sharing. I will make you Bowen host.
okay. Thanks.
Hey.
Hey there. Nice bar over there.
Is Mike going to join? Oh, I guess it's not even time yet. Okay.
There's also East Denver potentially retro that they want to do, so I'm not sure which one Mike gonna join.
Yeah, I'm going to jump there as well to East Denver recap.
So maybe like I don't really have much of update, and if Chad and
Well, I think probably Mike has. Maybe let's ask him.
Hey.
hey Mike.
Oh, hey, Mike. Here you are. Let me make you a host.
Oh, I thought I got added as a host. God. Thanks. Yeah, all right. Cool. Let me share this. This is going to be kind of a light version of Berry Pickers. The season is almost over. All the berries are almost gone. Cool. So this has been kind of a weird week for actually the whole team, since we are just 3 people. I want to say broadly that Eugene has had a couple of days off. Chad is still without internet, actually. And yeah, it's been pretty rough with the Portland winter storm. So we're inching along. The updates are going to be a bit low this week. So I think there's nothing truly in the done column right now. So I didn't even add it this time.
terms of the bridge, Chad is officially off of the bridge and has created some tickets for Pierre, who has joined the bridge and was supposed to be kind of coming back to this team, but again, has no internet and still doesn't. Token standards. So last night I had a draft for Nomicon that goes over the base fungible token standard. That's actually quite interesting to compare to the NEP 20. And now I'm thinking it may be useful to possibly have both the old fungible token standard and the new one in Nomicon, just so people can see the same example side by side, how escrow systems work and versus not work. You can make that comparison in their head. So I may actually rework that a little bit just to keep the old standard in there, but I think I'll pass that idea around because I could also see the argument that Nomicon is just for the most current. Anyway,
I think we should keep it, but maybe deprecate it, or like mark it as deprecated for like a legacy standard.
Can we maybe put it in a different place than Nomicon, because I fear that, you know, putting it together might just confuse people. Or, maybe like you put in docs or something. Yeah, comparison.
Yeah, comparison can go to docs. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
I mean,
So yes,
like keep the old standard and just like mention it in a new standard, but not put a reference there. Like not mix them.
Okay. So we still need to add the metadata and storage to the NEP for Nomicon. That shouldn't be hard. Also, there's been a lot of work that I've been doing on taking what Eugene has wrote as the implementation of NEP 141 and kind of tweaking it in a way that I think will be needed for the bridge to have the factory for it. I think that it's going to be really important. Also, one of the first things that's going to happen once we release NEP 141 is people are going to say, wait, my fungible token will get sort of have hurdles with this. And so I'm working on a draft PR that is like an example where you can unblock that situation, but I actually won't go into that. That's a little bit out of scope for this meeting.
Okay.
So actually, what's the best place to read about the the change, or like what has changed in the fungible token standard? Is there a blog post or some kind of some material document? I don't know.
Yeah. So this is where it's a little bit tangled. Where we had a good GitHub issue in the NEPs. And then that got sort of so unwieldy because we discovered a lot of things, talking to different partners, talking to people in the community, that we moved that to GitHub discussions. And that was great because you could see more easily. And then that got really overrun also. So right now it's basically, I'm taking on like as my job to like put it in Nomicon. And then I think we definitely will have to have, probably in docs as well. Like, here's an example of like the base version. Here's an example of like, kind of a customized version, etc. So no, there is no canonical place right now. It's like,
okay.
Yeah. The duty is like looking through all the different discussions currently going.
There's also videos that you can look on discussion that give context as well. If you don't want to, like, if you want to.
I just want to look at the final result,
Oh, the final will be Nomicon. But I think we should summarize decision making process there as well. So like why we put this way, like why memo is there. So it should be in notes on the bottom of the standard. Basically,
actually,
let's say. Yeah.
So actually, like, to answer your question, Oysterpack, his name is Al, wrote this article for Figment learning pathway.
Oh,
and
nice.
This is like extremely good. So this is probably, I will say, this is like the canonical version of what is all going on. Like, there may be small things that we're going to update here, but yeah, this is fantastic. And actually, that's another part of the update is Al. I've been talking to him quite a bit. Very competent community member. He's very excited about Near, and on March 3rd, he's going to be helping out with Near SDK RS docs and working on a book that is very similar to like how Serde is like laid out. If you're
Nice.
familiar with this, just sort of like Rust book.
Super
So
cool.
that's really exciting. That's a big update. I just heard about this March 3rd date yesterday.
Nice.
Okay, as a small note, I see that simulation tests, which are definitely on the OKRs for berry pickers, I see that Flux is having some issues with that, and I want to make sure that those are ironed out. And also, definitely need to write simulation tests for NEP 141. This will be a really good way to show people how to do simulation tests and iron out any bugs. And like, I truly think that simulation tests are like extremely important because they can do cross-contract call tests. There seems to be like a bottleneck in caching possibly. So I don't know if our team will be diving into this, but like
I already wrote an in-memory cache for. I mean, it just is a trait
So it was a
Nikolai
okay.
made for the
Mhm.
cache that I have to implement. But I'm running into some other cargo issues right now with testing it. But it should be good.
do you think they'd be helpful to swarm on that? Like I know it seems like sometimes you get like siloed on really important things like simulation tests, and I don't want to do that to you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if someone else, I mean, I'll push what I have soon, and somebody else can help with get it over the final hurdle. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, this is great.
A question on. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm good.
Question on NEP 141. I would find it useful if we updated the description of the actual issue at github.com/near/NEPs 141. It seems like the most obvious place to look if you're like familiar with the fact that there is an NEPs repo and this came from NEP 141. So whatever the final result is, can we update the description there with the same info that's in Nomicon?
It sounds like Anya disagrees with you.
She wants me to wash her bid.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Also, broadly, I brought this up in I think an engineering managers meeting that like I'm going to take on the task of updating how NEPs work, because currently it's been changing. Like at first it was like you create a PR, and then it was like now you create an issue, and then discussions are actually better, but discussions have like they share the same auto incrementing number. So I will also make that easier to understand.
Actually, Mike, maybe we should collaborate on that, because the change on the protocol side is also suboptimal the process. Maybe we should just like discuss it so that we have a unified process for both like standard and also protocol changes.
Sure.
Because right now we're not actually following the temp. Okay, I won't go into detail. Just a mess. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely ping you on that, because it'll be good to have two heads instead of one, because it's not a very fun task. But anyway, I want to leave room for everyone else on the call. So I think that's kind of it from the Berry Pickers team, unless there's clarifying questions. Cool, thank you.
Actually, yeah, so an update on the meeting. So we did a slightly change to the meetings. So the chain meetings is now split into 3 parts, and one of them is transaction runtime. So this meeting, starting from next week, will no longer be a joint meeting. It will be solely for berry pickers, so that Mike can have more time to talk about all the fun stuff that the berry pickers are doing. Yeah, so there is basically a separate meeting on Mondays at 8 a.m. PST, which would be 4 p.m. UTC time. Yeah, and if people are interested, please feel free to join. I mean, it's on the community calendar, so people, everyone here should have access. And also, yeah, Eugene, please attend. We
When
need
is
you.
it?
Monday, 8 a.m. PST.
Oh, terrible timing.
Well, I mean, this is because both Alex Logunov and Igor are on the other side of the globe, so it's easier for them. Yeah, that's the update, I guess, from the transaction runtime. So actually, yeah, maybe since both Igor and Alex are here, maybe do you want to give an update on the progress on transaction runtime?
So yes, I can give some update. I'm still working on changes to account, which will be now versioned, just like as, for example, block is versioned. And after that, not after, together with that, there would be a fix to allocating too many, too few, sorry, too few storage usage when we, there was a bug where when we delete access key, we subtracted too many, like too many from storage usage. It was fixed, but the storage usage itself wasn't fixed, and it will be fixed now.
Yes, actually, speaking of storage usage, Eugene, did you see the comment that Igor had on my PR about storage usage? I haven't checked, so I don't actually know whether you responded.
Which pair?
Saving transaction hash.
Hmm.
So, yeah, maybe Igor, can you talk about the problem?
Oh, it's not really a problem, but we save transaction hashes by account ID, but we do not save them in that account state, so we do not charge storage usage for them. But this data is clearly associated with some account ID, so it may be a good idea to add that to storage usage. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
No, yeah, no. For this case, we don't need to because it's temporary storage for like until garbage collected. So versus persistent storage is what we charge for because it stays in the current state and it's acceptable or accessible by the contracts. So we pretty much charge stuff that is accessible by the contracts, even so not everything is exposed. But for example, receipts that are delayed during the execution are also not charged by storage usage. So the storage usage is what a user can create and that needs to be maintained forever, essentially, until it's deleted voluntarily by user. So in this case, we free up the storage usage. So for transactions hashes, we don't really need to account them in storage usage because they are automatically removed once they expire. Oh, once the maximum expiration period passes.
Sure. Okay, it makes sense.
One thing I wanted to talk, if I guess Alexander Loganov can give an update first, and then I can.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Alex, do you have an update?
So yeah, hi all. Sorry for I have some difficulties with the internet, so I'm connected via iPad. Okay, so I've just joined the NIR, and I am continuing doing some onboarding stuff like CLI installation and so on. And so I reached the middle of the Nightshade paper, digging into some like blockchain concepts. Also had some useful one-to-ones, and Misha showed me like some details on how transactions and actions are stored. So I guess currently that's all.
Okay. Yeah, actually, if you have questions regarding, because I know that you wanted to test the transaction by yourself. So I think I sent you the link to our docs. But yeah, if you have question, maybe I think Mike is also a good person to ask, since he does a lot of work with the near API.js and the near CLI. So if you have questions on using those tools, he's also a good person to ask. You can also ask me, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and welcome aboard.
Yeah. Oh, actually, by the way, Igor and Alex, as I said, you don't have to attend this meeting next week because we refactored the meeting. Yeah, this meeting will be solely for berry pickers now. And I think, yeah, I'll probably just remove you from the invite so that you don't appear on your calendar. Okay, yeah, let's hand it back to Eugene.
Cool. So I also this week started working on the reviving the private transaction PR that introduces the new curves. So they are very important to unblock EVM because EVM has to do a bunch of new host methods as well. So they need an example on how to do this. And we were like blocking this PR for like almost a year now for a bunch of reasons, but it's coming along nicely. So I made a fork of the old PR into near core branch now. I'm doing it completely wrapped with features, so EVM still leaked a bunch of stuff to master. So this one is fully guarded by configuration feature that it introduced nightly, which creates me a bunch of issues. And one of them is in param estimator. And this is the contract. So basically in param estimator, we use the test contract that needs to also be guarded by feature now, because it will not be able to import methods that only exist in the new protocol, which means either param estimator always has to measure them and like require this feature to be on, but that means we cannot use the final result of param estimator for non-nightly configs, which is not ideal as well.
Eugene, here I have a question. So don't you think that we actually start to really abuse features, and this actually leads to exponential complexity in in configuration, and so all those problems, they should never ever exist originally if we wouldn't abuse features as a mechanism for conditional compilation?
I mean, but I in general I agree with what Nicola said, but I think in this specific case, like even if we don't have features, it still like faces problem of like in one of the in the nightly it would have this like method, but then in the stable it wouldn't. Like you still would have faces like disparity between the two, and you still have to somehow deal with it.
But that's a different the behavior. It's runtime versus compile time, and I guess I think using compile time features for things which are actually I personally prefer to have more or less a single code base with the different paths, unless like very few cases where it's absolutely performance critical, and I don't think we have anything like that in our blockchains. So
so the reason why we do this is if we introduce this to master without guarding by feature, and we somehow like indirectly cause the divergence, the only way to fix it is roll back entire sync, which may have like rolling issues on top. So for example, let's say I'm introducing the zero pool VN dependency on VM logic that I need to for this curve. And right now it will be optional that enabled by the feature. If you don't do this, then it means I'm introducing these dependencies for both protocols, nightly and stable, that may somehow, through interact dependency, affect the behavior of the stable, which we wouldn't notice unless we already cut testnet, for example, started this upgrade process and we cause an issue, which will mean we have to roll back the release candidate, remove it from release candidate, and do a lot of this stuff. Otherwise, you just disable this feature.
We can have it a little bit different in a sense that in implementation, we can have we can conditionally behave differently and not actually bring a dependency on host side, but my kind of main point of objection is a conditional API surface, not the implementation. So I think interface shall never be featured. Not implementation wise, I guess I follow your line of thought and agree with it. But interface wise, if we progress the interface, it should not be polluted by features.
I see.
Yeah, actually,
well,
Nikolai, I mean, I posted this issue in the chat. I think Alexei Kradov has similar ideas, and maybe we should reopen the discussion there. And I do think this compile time features, it kind of did lead us into a bunch of, I guess, troubles or difficulties. So maybe we want to rethink that a bit.
Yeah.
Because
actually,
compilation feature, but just a protocol version, which we already have. So eventually we can remove.
Yeah, actually, the point that Alexei made is that actually on the Rust compiler level, they don't actually use compile time features. They also use runtime features. They only use very few compile time features, and the things we see are mostly features from the compiler point of view. Those are mostly features in their runtime. So so he made an argument saying that we should not use a lot of compile time features, and because this is not actually what the Rust compiler does.
Yeah. Actually, the reason behind that is pretty simple. Essentially, with features, you introduce conditional compilation, and this eventually lead to exponential explosion in complexity. Once you have many features, you actually have a lot of configurations how you can actually compile your code base, and compiler couldn't even properly type check it unless it knows the set of features. And in runtime, you just have more flexibility.
So should we do just two features, nightly and non-nightly? So
I think that's what he's suggested. Basically he's suggesting that for example, the Rust compiler has something whether it's Linux or some other OS, and then they have and also maybe they have a nightly and stable some top level compile time features, but then for the actual features they do it in runtime.
Yeah, it should be actually super easy to refactor master to just use two features.
And another thing in addition to what Nikolai said is that due to the use of compile time features, currently the way we do this check to see if we should enable a feature based on protocol version is very non-ergonomic when you write the code, because essentially we kind of wrapped it in this macro, and basically inside the macro it kind of turn on and off the feature, which is it's just the code is hard to read and also hard to write.
Yeah, cool. It still doesn't solve the problem with param estimator, which is it basically, unless we decide that param estimator should be only nightly, it needs to support two of them.
Not really. I think what if it will be a runtime feature, then when calling param estimator, you can just have certain like global configuration parameter, I don't know, environment variable, whatever, which actually defines the API surface available. And when running param estimator, you can in runtime select which set of features it shall expose. And so
it is how it's gonna work, but it still requires us to like have stable version which doesn't expose this. So we either say param estimator only works with nightly feature on the compilation time enabled, and then you have a runtime check, or you say param estimator has to support like both nightly and stable, which means it guards on nightly features with the flag, and then in runtime it decides to enable them or not based on like runtime feature or like a flag.
Well, actually, like in my ideal world, there would be no different like set of host functions in nightly and stable, and so there should be no wording on the availability of host function. The behavior will be different, and essentially in master, when you invoke a nightly feature, it just panics. And then when you write param estimator, you always compile against this like huge complete API surface and make a runtime configuration such that all needed functions are exposed.
But that doesn't.
I understand, but the problem is like compilational dependencies, like this zero pull crate. So if something goes wrong with like their dependency, let's say they like introduce some malloc that we have not been aware that leaks to be static, and like it creates complete mess on the stable protocol, even so it never exposes directly and like never enabled directly.
But also, Nikolai, if you do that, you need to make sure the error return is actually the same, because you cannot just do a panicking inside. You need to do it such that the error return is the same as if they don't have this function. Otherwise, it will just cause a state divergence when it's deployed.
So what Nikolai suggested is like this unified API on import.
Okay.
So then we just like have a syscall ID.
Okay.
That makes like a contract to actually properly panic if it like calls something that's not exposed, and doesn't require like two contracts.
I see. Oh.
So anyway, if we talk about like a dependency brought by param estimator, then we could probably do something fancy, like for example, the param estimator could actually like exec, for example, completely independent crate, which is actual param estimator, and it selects which param estimator it invokes, once again based on the runtime parameter. So this way the dependencies are encapsulated in a different process and not brought into into the near image.
Right now it's on VM logic. So VM logic needs to export a new crate. So the challenge is like putting everything into stable directly and like enabling in runtime is like EVM will be like a ridiculously painful change potentially if you like somehow leaked any of the dependencies into stable, like expose an error, for example. We already exposed this error, we never throw it, like we probably do not serialize it. Anyway, we're out of time. There's some good work happening.
It seems like we're using Barry Picker's time to discuss contract runtime.
Oh, sorry guys, sorry. Meeting. It was not intended, absolutely. I just just trying to give advice. Sorry.
I'm all for this. I think conversations are like this are great. So Thanks for bringing it up, Nikolai.
But actually, Nikolai, what the contract runtime seems to be that meeting is like half an hour from now. So what? Like there's no meeting, right? I don't know what's the why the schedule is like this right now.
Oh yeah. I think it was an artifact of meeting with Wasmer. We could actually reschedule, which is bi-weekly, and it happens in exactly this call. So this is the reason for this gap, and I think we can arrange it if it's uncomfortable for people.
No, but I think it doesn't. It was not like this before. Oh, I think it's because Fro moved the node interfaces meeting today. Okay, I see why.
Yeah, it used to be another meeting.
Yes. Okay. So we can come back.
We don't have it. So if you want, we can. Oh, but there are people.
Yeah, other people
who had the plan for that, because I'm open to have this meeting now.
Yeah. So what do we do? Just come back in like half an hour?
Yeah, so sure. Let's go back in 30 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. See you in 30 minutes.
Yeah, thanks, y'all.
Yeah.